Hello, good morning everyone. Right now we are studying storage works module 2 in irrigation. So our content was introduction, classification of the dam, factor governing a selection of site of the dam, selection of the site for the dam, types of the earthen dam, components of earthen dam, their functions, causes of a failure of earthen dam, seepage analysis, rock-fill dams, impervious membranes, टाइप्स ऑफ द रॉक-फिल डैम, ग्रेविटी डैम. सो हम लोगों ने अब तक यहाँ रॉक-फिल डैम तक पढ़ लिया है. अब हम लोग नेक्स्ट टॉपिक पे आएंगे ग्रेविटी डैम, फोर्सेस एक्टिंग ऑन अ ग्रेविटी डैम, मोड्स ऑफ अ फेलियर ऑफ अ ग्रेविटी डैम, स्टेबिलिटी रिक्वायरमेंट्स, कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ अ ग्रेविटी डैम एंड देयर फंक्शंस, एंड लास्ट है कीज एंड वाटर स्टॉप्स. राइट, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द ग्रेविटी डैम्स. First of all, what is gravity dam? So gravity dam is a solid structure made of a concrete or a masonry constructed across a river to create a reservoir in a upstreams. Right? So gravity dam is also called as a solid gravity dam to distinguish it from a hollow gravity dam in a which hollow spaces are kept to reduce the weight. So weight कम करने के लिए हम लोग hollow gravity dam भी बना सकते हैं. So gravity dam is generally straight in a plan, although sometimes it may be a slightly curved. The cross section of the gravity dam is triangular. So section is so proposed that it resists that various forces acting on it by its own weight. Right. So gravity dams are usually consist of two sections, namely non-overflow section and second is the overflow section, that is also called as a spillway. Right. So when suitable foundations are available, such dams can be constructed up to a great heights, and the highest gravity of the dam in the world is a Grand Dixon Dam, which is located in Switzerland. The height of this dam was a 285 meter height. The second highest gravity dam in the world is a Bhakra Dam, and the height of this dam is 226 meter. So the ratio of the base width to the height of most gravity dam is less than 1, and upstream face is vertical or slightly inclined. Now we will see some definition related to a gravity dam. So first of all, first definition is the axis of the dam. So what is axis of the dam? So in a plan, the axis of the dam is defined as a horizontal trace of a upstream edge of the top of the dam, and it is also called as a baseline of a dam. So the axis or a baseline of a dam may be a straight or a slightly curved. So the axis of the dam is a line of a upstream edge of a top of the dam. मतलब कि जो crown होती है वो. The axis of the dam in a plan is जैसे मैंने बताया कि बेस लाइन भी हम लोग उसको बोलते हैं. सेकेंड डेफिनेशन है लेंथ ऑफ अ डैम. लेंथ किसको बोलेंगे हम लोग? So the length of the dam is a distance from one abutment to other abutment measured along the axis of the dam at a level of a top of the dam. तो उसको बोलेंगे हम लोग length of the dam. So it is the usual practice to mark the distance from the left abutment to the right abutment. So the left abutment is one, which is the left of the person moving along the current of the water. मतलब कि आपका जो वाटर का फ्लो है वहाँ पे जो पर्सन खड़ा है उसकी लेफ्ट साइड जो होती है उसको हम लोग लेफ्ट अबटमेंट बोलेंगे, और उसकी राइट साइड जो होती है उसको हम लोग राइट अबटमेंट बोलेंगे. उसके बाद है स्ट्रेट हाइट ऑफ द डैम. सो व्हाट इज अ स्ट्रेट हाइट ऑफ द डैम? Straight height of the dam is a difference in the elevation of the top of the dam and the lowest point of a dam. Right, lowest point in a excavator foundation. So you can see this is a straight height of a dam from the top to a bottom. नेक्स्ट इज अ टो और हील. ये टो हील क्या है वो आप लोगों को ऑलरेडी पता है, बिकॉज हम लोगों ने DRCS वाले चैप्टर में रिटेनिंग वॉल वाला चैप्टर पढ़ा था. सो रिटेनिंग वॉल में जैसे टो एंड हील होता है, सेम यहाँ पे भी टो एंड हील होगा. सो द टो ऑफ द डैम इज अ डाउनस्ट्रीम एज ऑफ अ बेस एंड हील इज अ अपस्ट्रीम एज ऑफ अ बेस. Maximum base width of the dam. So the maximum base width of the dam is a maximum horizontal distance between the heel and toe of a maximum section of the dam in a middle of a valley, right? So उसको बोलेंगे maximum base width of a dam. Hydraulic height of a dam. So what is hydraulic height of the dam? So it is equal to the difference in elevation of a highest control water surface on the upstream of the dam and the lowest point in a river bed, right? Now we will see advantages of gravity dams. So gravity dams are relatively more strong and durable than earthen dams. Gravity dams can be constructed of any height, so provided suitable foundations are available to bear the stresses. It is also suitable for a moderately wide valleys having steep slopes. It can be constructed to a very great heights, right? So gravity dams we can construct to any height. Gravity dams are suitable for overflow spillway sections, right? So earthen dams cannot use as a overflow dams. A gravity dam required a less maintenance. Gravity dams are specially suited to such areas where likelihood the very downpour, so they does not fail suddenly. Scoring sluices can be used in a gravity dams to remove a silt deposited in a reservoir. And last is a gravity dam is a cheaper in a long run, so the benefit cost ratio is always higher. Now we will see disadvantages of the gravity dams. So first disadvantage is gravity dams of a great height can be constructed only on a sound rock foundation. So we need a sound rock foundation for construction of a gravity dam. The second is initial cost is more than a earthen dam, right? So this is a second disadvantage. Third one is it takes a longer time in a construction. So gravity dam also required skilled labor than earthen dam. Mechanized plants for manufacturing and transporting concrete can required, and it is very difficult to allow a subsequent rise in a height of a gravity dam. Now next topic we will see is forces acting on a gravity dam. So first force is a weight of the dam. The second one is a water pressure. Third one is the uplift pressure. Fourth one is a wave pressure. Fifth one is the earth and silt pressure. Next is earthquake forces. Seven is a ice pressure, and last is a wind pressure. So basically forces acting on a gravity dams are similar to the forces acting on a retaining wall, राइट आप लोगों ने DRCS में रिटेनिंग वॉल वाला चैप्टर पढ़ा था, जिसमें हम लोगों ने देखा था कि उसके ऊपर फोर्सेस कितने होते हैं और उसको हम लोग कैलकुलेट कैसे करते हैं. सारी थियोरी हम लोगों ने देखी थी, बट अगेन वी विल डिस्कस इन इरिगेशन, सो वी विल गो थ्रू वेरी फास्ट. सो फर्स्ट इज अ वेट ऑफ द डैम, राइट. सो sorry, weight of the dam per unit length is given by a product of the area, right? So you know how we can calculate a weight of a dam. So concrete, and it's a very vertically downward at the center of the gravity of the section. So for a sake of a convenience, the entire cross section of the dam may be divided into a smaller sections of a simple geometrical shapes such as a triangular, rectangular, and last the weight of the each of these acting on a center of the gravity may be considered. So weight of any part of the dam is equal to a cross section of the area of that part and a specific weight of the material. We can multiply with the area to the specific weight of the material and we will get a weight of any part of the dam, and at last we will add all the parts dam and we will get a weight of the dam. So basically हम लोग जो एग्जाम्पल में भी करते हैं कि क्या करते हैं, सबसे पहले उसको हमारा जो क्रॉस सेक्शन है डैम का उसको अलग अलग पार्ट में डिवाइड कर देंगे, अलग अलग पार्ट में लाइक क्रॉस सेक्शन को मैंने 3 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड कर दिया कि 2 रेक्टेंगल है और 3rd ट्रायंगुलर है. सो तीनों पार्ट के एरिया कैलकुलेट करेंगे और उसके साथ उसकी डेंसिटी मल्टीप्लाई कर देंगे. बेसिकली कंक्रीट की डेंसिटी 24 किलो न्यूटन पर मीटर क्यूब है. सो जो भी आपका एरिया आता है उसको डेंसिटी के साथ मल्टीप्लाई करने के बाद सारे पार्ट्स को हम लोग फिर से सब ऐड कर देंगे तो हमें टोटल वेट ऑफ द डैम मिल जाएगा. अब नेक्स्ट है water pressure, right? The second force acting on a gravity dam is a water pressure. So water pressure is a major external force extracted by a water stored in a reservoir on a upstream face of the dam, right? So it can be calculated by a low hydrostatic pressure distribution which is a triangular in a shape as shown in a figure. So you can see in this figure this can be distributed by a in a triangular shape, right? So there is a two section when upstream face is a vertical or when upstream face is a partly vertical and partly inclined. सो ये आप देख रहे हो पोर्शन वो वर्टिकल वाला पोर्शन है. सो हम लोग जब वर्टिकल होगा तो कैसे कैलकुलेट करेंगे. सो व्हेन द अपस्ट्रीम फेस इज अ वर्टिकल द इंटेंसिटी ऑफ द प्रेशर इज 0 एट द वाटर सरफेस एंड इक्वल टू गैमा W into H. So intensity of the pressure at base can be calculated by a P is equal to gamma W into H, where gamma W is a unit weight of the water. And what is the unit weight of the water? It is a 9.81 kilonewton per meter cube. Height of H is the depth of the water, right? That is a capital H. You can see in this figure also, which we can take as H. Total water pressure P per unit of the length of the dam is equal to the area of the pressure acting on a pressure triangle. So it is a 1/2 मतलब कि 0.5 into gamma W into H मतलब we can say this is H square. So equation for the P is a 1/2 into gamma W into H square at a height of H by 3 from the base. So you can see in this figure. So when a water phase, upstream phase is a vertical, then we can calculate pressure of intensity at base small p. So by equation of gamma W into H. एंड अगर हमें टोटल प्रेशर फाइंड आउट करना है तो हम कौन सा इक्वेशन यूज करेंगे 1/2 into gamma W into H square at a height of H by 3. Next, next portion है when upstream face is a partly vertical and a partly inclined. So when the upstream face is a partly vertical and partly inclined, the resulting water force can be resolved into two components. First is the horizontal component and second one is the vertical component. So the horizontal component can be calculated by a 1/2 into gamma into h square. We have seen earlier at h by 3, and for the vertical component we have to calculate a PV, that is called a weight of the water stored in a column ABCA and act at the CG of the area, right? So CG of the area, and C is the tail water pressure. So if there is a tail water of a height h on the downstream side, it will be have a vertical and horizontal component, right? So there is a two components, vertical and horizontal component. So a horizontal component can be calculated by a 0.5 gamma w into square, we have already seen earlier, and for the vertical components we have to calculate a PV dash, that is called the weight of the water contained by a column EFG, right? EFG. So you can see in this figure major external forces acting upward due to a sleeping water, right? So second one was this. You can see in this figure, this is a tail water, drainage gallery is given. So the figure of pressure, that is this kind of. Now we will see a third, uplift pressure. So uplift pressure is defined as a forces extracted by a water penetrating through the pores, cracks and fissures within the body of the dam, the contact between the dam and its foundation and within the foundation. So it acts vertically upward at the horizontal section of the dam as well as the foundation, and hence it causes a reduction in a effective weight of the portion of a structure laying above this section. So you can see these two type of section. First one is the uplift pressure at a no drainage gallery provided, and second figure shows the uplift pressure U diagram when a drainage gallery is provided. So the area over which uplift pressure act has been a question of investigation, and there are two schools of thoughts existing in a literature. One school is at the value 1/3 to a 2/3 of the area should be considered as a effective area over which uplift pressure acts. As per the second school of the thought, the Terzaghi and Levitsky, the effective area may be taken equal to the total area, right? So we have two types of the drainage galleries. First one is when no drainage gallery provided in a section, and second is the when a drainage gallery provided in a section. So where no drainage gallery provided, then we can calculate a forces as per a simple calculation like we have calculated earlier. But when a drainage gallery is provided, the uplift pressure at the gallery can be calculated by a gamma w into h dash plus 1/3 h minus h dash. And what is a h dash? So at h dash is the distance where a water is stored, and h is the total height of the water, right? Third one is the ice pressure. So ice may be a form on a water surface of the reservoir in a cold countries, may sometimes melt and expand. The ice pressure extracted on a dam by a sheet of the ice form on the entire water surface of the reservoir when it is subjected to expansion and contraction, right? क्या होता है? एक्सपांशन एंड कॉन्ट्रैक्शन होता है. एक्सपांशन होता है तो क्या होता है? डैम की जो क्रैक्स एंड फिशर्स होती है उसके अंदर पानी चला जाता है, और जब विंटर सीजन आती है तो जो पानी अंदर चला गया था वो पानी क्या होता है? आइस में कन्वर्ट हो जाता है, और आइस में कन्वर्ट होने की वजह से वो और ज़्यादा क्रैक्स क्रिएट करता है, ठीक है. और जब गर्मी आती है तो उसमें कॉन्ट्रैक्शन होता है. सो एज पर IS 6512-1984 आइस प्रेशर इज 250 kilonewton per meter square applied to the face of the dam over the anticipated area of the contact of the ice with the face of the dam, right? So the coefficient of the thermal expansion of a ice is a 5 into a coefficient of a thermal expansion of the concrete. जो concrete का thermal expansion होता है उसका जो coefficient होता है उसको 5 times करें तब हमें coefficient of the thermal expansion of the ice मिलता है. अब उसके बाद है वेव प्रेशर. सो वेव्स आर जनरेटेड ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ द रिजर्वायर बाय अ ब्लोइंग winds, right? So which causes a pressure towards the downstream side? Wave pressure depends on a wave height. So we can see a wave pressure in a IS 6512 and 1972. There is a formula HW is equal to 0.032 under root VF plus 0.763 minus 0.271 F raised to 1/4 for F is less than 32 kilometer and for greater F is greater than 32 kilometer. Equation will be a 0.32 under root VF V into F, right? So what is V? V is a wind velocity in a kilometer per hour and F is a fetch or a straight length of the water in a kilometer. So, and we can calculate pressure intensity due to wave by this equation, 2.4 into a gamma W into HW, that is acting at a 1/8 of the HW meter above the still water surface. And total pressure can be calculated by a area of a triangular, that is 2.4 into gamma W into HW into 1/2 into 5/3 gamma W. So that will be a 2 into gamma W into HW square, act as a 3/8 of the above reservoir surfaces. Now the next is the silt pressure. So silt pressure can be calculated. All stream carry a silt along with the water, which during a flood may be an enormous quantity. The silt load gets deposited to an appreciable extent when dam is constructed. The dam is therefore subjected to a silt pressure in additional the water pressure. So that can be calculated by 1/2 into gamma dash into h square into 1 minus sin phi upon 1 plus sin phi, acting at a h/3 height. The next is a wind pressure. So it is a minor force acting on a dam, act on a superstructure of the dam. Normally wind pressure is taken to a 1.5 kilometer Newton per meter square to wind pressure is a not significant force and therefore sometimes not considered in a design of the dam. And the last one is the earthquake forces. Earthquake forces can be calculated by that is equivalent to imparting the acceleration of the foundation of the dam and direction in which the wave is traveling at the moment. The earthquake wave may be a move in a direction for the design purpose. The earthquake acceleration is usually designed as a fraction of the g, and the acceleration due to gravity and expressed at equation as ah is equal to 0.1 g or 0.2 g. So according to IS 1893/2002, the design value of a horizontal seismic coefficient may be determined by the two methods. First one is the seismic coefficient method and second one is the Repos spectrum method. So now we will discuss further in the next lecture. So thank you so much for the listening my lecture.